The metal shutter of the failed milk tea shop rattles. As the landlord slams his fist again and again, Ruby Hart stands inside among stacked chairs and unsold cups. Arms wrapped around herself as if that could hold the debt back.
You are 3 months behind, Ruby. The bank is done waiting. I need you out tonight.
If I leave now, I have nowhere to sleep. Give me 1 more week, please.
Her voice shakes but her chin lifts, refusing to beg like she did yesterday.
1 week will not change a thing. The numbers are brutal. The lease is over.
He leaves the final notice on the counter and stomps out into the August heat. Ruby stares at the red stamp marked default. The word blurs as her eyes burn.
Great, 26 and I have managed to ruin my credit and my parents' faith. Amazing job, Ruby Hart.
She laughs once, a broken sound that dies against the empty tile. Her phone buzzes with another bank message. Another reminder that her dream has turned into a very expensive lesson. She grabs the plastic tip jar now holding only coins, shakes it. Hears the hollow clatter that sounds like mockery.
If someone up there is listening, I would like a refund on this plot twist, please.
Only the buzzing fluorescent light answers, flickering like it might give up before she does. She locks the shutter from the outside and pockets the key she no longer needs. Rain starts without warning. Hot summer rain that soaks her dress as she walks with no direction. Downtown lights smear in the wet pavement. Neon signs promising late-night comfort she cannot afford. Her sneakers slap through puddles until a warm yellow glow catches her eye. A tiny stationery shop sits squeezed between a bar and a pawn shop. Door open, bell silent. The sign above is hand-painted, wish and ink, letters faded but stubborn. Inside smells like paper and dust, and something sweet she cannot name.
You look like someone who lost a war and a wallet. Come in before you drown, child.
The man behind the counter is about 50, silver hair pulled back, eyes bright behind round glasses.
I just lost a milk tea shop, and maybe my mind, but I guess that still fits your description.
She tries to joke and wipe water from her face at the same time.
Loss is just a receipt for living. What are you looking for, Ruby?
She freezes, because she never told him her name.
Have we met before?
Names cling to people like ink. Some of us just read faster. Look around. Something may recognize you.
Shelves rise to the ceiling, packed with journals, pens, envelopes, in every color. Her fingers trail over leather covers until they stop on a stack of cream-colored cards bound with red thread. The paper feels warm, almost alive, when she lifts the top card.
What is this? It feels like it is humming.
Exchange letter. Very old. Very picky. You write a wish. Someone on the other side writes a price.
So a scam, with nicer branding.
Everything in this city is a scam until it works. The rules are simple. The trade is fair.
He slides a fountain pen across the counter, the nib shining dark blue.
If your need is real, the letter will answer. If not, it will stay blank, and you walk out with wet shoes, and nothing lost.
Ruby thinks of the landlord, the bank, her parents selling their car to help her open the store. She thinks of the nights she slept on flour sacks in the back room, telling herself every sacrifice meant progress. Her hand trembles as she presses the pen to the card.
I want all my business debts cleared, every last cent, and I want a chance to start again without drowning.
The ink sinks into the paper, like it is drinking her panic. For a moment nothing happens. Then the letters glow faint gold before settling. The card warms against her skin, then flips in her hand without wind. New words crawl across the back in neat black script. Debt cleared. In exchange you must fulfill one request from the signer on this side, no matter the demand, as long as it stays within your ability. Below that, a line appears for a name, already filled in with sharp letters she recognizes. Mason Hale. Ruby nearly drops the card. The shop tilts, her stomach plummets.
You have got to be kidding me.
Mason Hale, the star designer whose restaurant project she once destroyed with a furious 1-star review. The man whose fans chased her for days online, whose company nearly crashed after her post about the safety flaw in his design went viral. She had told herself she did the right thing, that calling out the issue was worth the chaos. But the guilt never left.
Why him? There are 8 million people in this city. Why the one man who probably wants me dead?
Because stories hate straight lines, Ruby. The letter links equal weights, equal wounds, equal wants.
Her phone buzzes again, this time with a new notification from her banking app. Account balance, 0 owed. Every loan entry flattened to paid. Her knees almost give out. relief crashing into fear so hard she can barely breathe.
This is real. The debts are gone.
The wish is granted. Now the request will come. Keep that card close. It will find you when it is time.
She stumbles back out into the rain with the card pressed to her chest. Like a borrowed heartbeat, thunder rolls overhead, traffic roars, the city carries on unaware that her life just tilted on a new axis. Her phone buzzes again. A calendar alert she never set. 3 days from now, 10 in the morning, Hale Studio, report as my assistant. Do not be late, bring the letter. Ruby stares at the address, at the name, at the command that feels like a trap and a lifeline.
Of course it is you, Mason Hale. Of course my fresh start comes with the one man who hates me more than my creditors.
She looks up at the sky as if there might be an exit sign, hidden in the clouds.
Fine. You want an exchange. Then we will see who walks away owing interest.
3 days later, Ruby stands in front of Hale Studio, a slab of glass and steel rising over downtown like a trophy. No one invited her to touch. Her thrift store blazer feels thin against the sleek lobby. All marble and quiet money. She swipes a visitor badge and rides the elevator with people who smell like expensive coffee and confidence. On the 12th floor, the doors slide open to reveal clean white walls and framed sketches of restaurants, hotels and homes that have been in every design magazine she once dream-scrolled. Reception barely glances up, just points her toward a glass-walled conference room. Inside, Mason Hale stands with his back to her, sleeves rolled, shoulders tense as he studies a board covered in concept prints. He turns when her reflection shifts in the glass. His eyes sweep her once, cool and precise, like she is just another structural flaw to catalog.
You are late.
It is 9:58. Your summons said 10.
If you aim for the bare minimum, that explains your review.
His voice is calm, but each word lands like a small slap. Ruby feels heat crawl up her neck, shame and anger wrestling under her skin.
If I had not written that review, your client would be serving drinks under a ceiling that could fall the first time it rained.
The flaw was already caught internally. Your little viral morality play just hit before we could fix it.
So your damage control failed, and now I am your favorite scapegoat. Good to know.
Silence stretches, thick and sharp. He steps closer, stopping just inside her space.
I did not choose you, Ruby. The letter did. I woke up one morning with a card on my desk, promising a wish if I accepted a trade with my worst critic.
He pulls his own exchange letter from his pocket. Identical cream paper, identical red thread.
My wish was simple. I asked for one project that would not collapse under other people's mistakes. One thing fully under my control. The answer was you.
That is the worst ad I have ever heard from my personality.
Maybe, but here we are, and the rules say your debt was cleared when you accepted. Now, you work for me until I say the request is fulfilled.
I did not agree to being your servant. I agreed to one request within my ability.
Then, prove you have more ability than complaining on the internet.
He hands her a tablet loaded with design boards, budget sheets, mood images.
Task 1. There is a fusion restaurant in Brooklyn, about to drop us after your review history. Set them on edge. You will go there and convince the owner to stay.
He hates me. He printed out my review and taped it to the bathroom mirror as a warning.
Use that. Admit you were reckless. Explain that I fixed the flaw. Get him to sign the contract without bribing or lying. That is the constraint.
A familiar hum tickles her wrist, where the exchange card rests under her sleeve. When she glances down, she sees new writing along the edge in tiny script. Request accepted. Cost equal. Success completes one portion of contract. Her stomach knots.
And if I refuse?
Then, the wish unravels. Your debts reappear. The bank comes back with interest. Do you really want to test magic fine print?
He does not look cruel when he says it. Just tired. Like a man who has run out of room for failure. At the restaurant, the owner glares the second she walks in, arms folded over his chest.
You, the internet saint who called my ceiling a death trap. What do you want?
I want to apologize, and I want to help you not lose the best designer you will ever hire.
She forces herself to hold his stare, to swallow the instinct to defend every choice.
I was angry and scared, and I pushed publish without talking to anyone. That was wrong, but the flaw was real and Mason fixed it. He redesigned the support grid for free.
She slides photos and reports across the table. Documents she spent all morning organizing. The owner studies them, jaw working, resentment cooling into wary interest.
He did this much work after you blew him up.
He did this much work because he refuses to build anything unsafe. Your place deserves that. Your customers deserve that, and so do his designs.
The owner sighs like a balloon, losing air.
Fine, I will sign. But if one tile falls, I am sending you the bill.
Deal. I will staple my review next to it as a warning.
He snorts despite himself and scribbles his name on the contract. The exchange card warms against her skin, a small pulse like a heartbeat skipping. When she returns to Hale Studio, Mason is in his office, tie loosened, staring at the city through floor-to-ceiling glass.
Well,
Client saved, crisis postponed. You are welcome.
good. Because I made a side payment to keep your landlord from suing you personally. It seems the letter forgot to mention that clearing your debt meant shifting the pressure.
You paid my landlord.
I paid off his worst impulse. You can tell yourself it was charity, if that helps you sleep.
Her chest tightens with a mix of humiliation and gratitude. Before she can answer, the exchange card flares hot enough to sting. New text etches along the bottom in dark ink. Future wishes must match the value of granted requests. No party may demand more than the other can bear. Mason steps closer, reading over her shoulder, breath warm near her ear.
Looks like our little contract just grew a conscience.
Or a referee. Maybe it is tired of watching you bully me.
Do not flatter yourself, Hart. This is not bullying. This is calibration.
You keep telling yourself that while you use mystical stationery to micromanage my life.
He almost smiles. Almost. Then the moment passes.
Get used to it. Lesson 2 starts tomorrow. Bring coffee. Real coffee. Not the sugar soup you used to sell.
You have clearly never had a proper brown sugar latte. But fine. I will bring your bitter fuel if it keeps the universe from repossessing my freedom.
By the end of the week, Ruby has fetched samples, organized mood boards, and watched Mason dismantle 3 proposals with surgical precision. Working under him is like standing in a storm that cares deeply about symmetry. He notices every crooked line, every lazy color choice, every time she checks her phone instead of the brief. Yet he never raises his voice, which somehow makes his disappointment worse. On Friday afternoon, the exchange card buzzes against her wrist. Like a trapped bee, new letters slide across the surface, ink forming a question instead of a decree. State your next wish, Ruby Hart. Her heart jumps because she has not dared to think beyond survival, beyond paying rent and not disappointing everyone again.
If I could change one thing right now, I would want to win back at least one good client for the studio, so his team stops looking at me like a curse.
The ink drinks her words and flips the card. The response appears in crisp black script. Wish accepted, cost. 1 night as the signer public partner at a high-profile industry event. Full performance required. Mason pushes open her office door. The same second she finishes reading.
Pack up. We are going to the Design Future Gala tonight.
I do not own anything that fits a gala dress code, unless they consider emotional bankruptcy a theme.
The letter already provided wardrobe. It arrived in a box this morning with your name and a note about fulfilling your own wish.
He nods toward a garment bag hanging from the door. Inside is a midnight blue dress that fits her like someone measured her in her sleep. She runs her fingers over the fabric, soft and steady under her shaking hands.
Why does the universe know my size? That feels like a privacy violation.
You wrote your debts into its paper. It probably knows your blood type. Get ready, the car leaves in an hour.
At the gala, chandeliers drip crystal over a crowd of polished people holding tiny plates and large egos. Ruby walks beside Mason, arm linked through his, an arrangement the card insisted on in tiny print she almost missed. His suit is black with a subtle pattern, his tie a shade darker than her dress. It looks coordinated in a way that makes her chest ache. They barely cross the room before a rival designer steps into their path, with a smirk.
Mason Hale, I heard your latest restaurant client almost walked. Word is some online crusader poisoned the well.
The man flicks his gaze to Ruby, not recognizing her but smelling scandal.
Clients who value safety over gossip tend to stay. But you know that? You lose them faster than I do.
The rival laughs, sharp and mean.
At least my partners are real, not publicity stunts in borrowed dresses.
Ruby feels heat surge through her, not from shame, but from anger on Mason's behalf.
Funny, I have seen your last 3 lobbies, all glass and echo, no soul. Maybe try designing for humans instead of magazines.
The rival blinks, caught off guard by her calm tone.
Mason work never needed stunts. People talk because they feel something there. You could ask the clients who stayed instead of circling the ones who almost left.
She pulls her phone and taps a gallery, bringing up photos of the Brooklyn restaurant, the newly reinforced ceiling, the warm lighting he designed.
He rebuilt this grid at his cost to fix a potential failure. Who else here would sacrifice profit for safety like that?
Murmurs ripple around them as nearby guests lean in. The rival mutters something about early drinks and disappears toward the bar. Mason looks down at her, expression unreadable and soft all at once.
You did not have to do that.
Yes, I did. You are still half mad at me and maybe always will be. But I was wrong to let the world think you only cared about image.
Is that what you thought?
I thought you were arrogant. You still are, but now I know you do not compromise on structure or on truth.
Later on the balcony with the city glittering below, the air feels less sharp. She leans on the rail, heels kicked off, card warm in her palm.
When I wrote that review, I was terrified someone would get hurt. I hit send without talking, without asking, and I pretended your career was the acceptable casualty.
Her voice shakes, but she keeps going.
I am sorry not because it hurt me too, but because you deserved a conversation instead of a public execution.
Mason stands beside her, hands in his pockets, jaw tight.
That review cost me 2 investors, 3 projects, and 6 months of sleep.
The confession hangs between them like fog.
But it also forced my team to catch weaknesses we had ignored. It made me rebuild our process from the ground. My work is better now. I hate how much I owe that disaster.
So we both lost and both learned. That sounds unfairly balanced.
Maybe that is why the letter tied us together. It likes symmetry.
She laughs softly, surprised to find it genuine. The card shivers between her fingers, new text appearing along the border. Wish segment complete. Emotional equity increasing, contract stability improved.
Did it just praise our personal growth?
Apparently, congratulations. We have achieved feelings. Do not let it go to your head.
His mouth curves, the closest she has seen to a real smile. Inside the gala, the host announces upcoming awards. The crowd drifting back inside.
Come on, partner. We have a few more enemies to confuse tonight.
Lead the way, boss. Just remember, I charge interest on emotional labor now.
Weeks pass in a strange rhythm, work and wishes and demands weaving through Ruby days like a second schedule. Only she and Mason can see. They argue over lighting angles, font choices, and how much sugar belongs in anything that touches coffee. They also share quiet lunches over takeout boxes, trading stories and fragments, never quite naming how their alliance has started to feel less like punishment. One morning, the exchange card is already warm when she wakes, buzzing with a new prompt. State your next wish. Mason Hale. She finds him in the studio workshop, sleeves pushed up, charcoal on his fingers from late-night sketching.
I want one project that feels nothing like anything I have done before. Something messy and alive, and a little wrong, in the right way.
He speaks to the card more than to her. But Ruby feels the words like a window opening. The response forms in bold letters across the paper. Wish accepted, cost. Allow Ruby Hart to lead the search for inspiration, and follow where it goes without control.
So your punishment is trusting me. The universe finally developed a sense of humor.
Do not enjoy it too much. Where exactly are we going for this supposed inspiration?
We are going back to where I learned how to want more, my old neighborhood, the place I keep pretending I outgrew.
They take the train instead of a car, at her insistence, rattling out of downtown into blocks of faded paint and stubborn graffiti. The air smells like fried dough and exhaust. Kids yelling over basketball thumps. Music leaking from open windows. Ruby walks faster, as memories tug and sting. She points out the bodega where she studied between shifts, the park bench where she planned the milk tea menu that never found its crowd. Mason listens, hands in his pockets, gaze softer than she has ever seen in a boardroom. Rain rolls in faster than the weather app promised. Fat drops splattering the sidewalk. They duck under the cracked awning of a closed video store. The sign still advertising rentals no one wants.
When I was 15, this was the only place with air conditioning. I would sit in that corner and watch trailers on loop, dreaming about leaving.
Did you ever think the leaving would look like a foreclosure notice?
Not exactly. I pictured a scholarship, a steady job, a coffee machine that did not break every week, not drowning in loans and return cups.
Thunder grumbles overhead, light flickering in the clouds.
Failure feels louder when you come back here. Like every brick remembers you bragging about the empire you would build.
They do not remember. They do not care. Bricks are lazy witnesses. People are the ones who cling.
Do you cling?
Every award, every headline, every loss. I stack them in my head until it feels like I live inside a museum of proof.
Proof of what?
That I am allowed to exist. that I am not the kid whose ideas were always too much or too strange, that I did not waste my parents' sacrifice.
His voice dips, the edges fraying in the rain-softened air.
Sounds exhausting.
So does chasing customers who want sugar more than tea.
Touch.
They stand in the doorway as rain thickens into a sheet, the street turning into a silver river. The exchange card flares hot between them, flashing like a tiny lightning bolt. New text appears in fast strokes that almost drip. Emotional transparency reached. Conditions met. Contract trajectory shifting toward release.
Does that mean what I think it means?
If you think it means we are one vulnerable overshare away from freedom, probably.
Do you want that, for this to be over?
I wanted control. I asked for it. The letter gave me you instead. I am still deciding if that was an upgrade.
She looks at him, hair damp, shirt clinging in the humid air, perfection knocked slightly off axis.
For what it is worth, I wanted a clean slate. I got you and a second job and more feelings than my therapist ever asked for. It is confusing, but I do not hate it.
Rain eases to a drizzle. Light spilling through broken clouds. Across the street, a rundown corner lot sits empty. Weeds poking through cracked concrete.
There, that is where I would put a proper community cafe, not sleek and intimidating, just warm and messy with mismatched chairs and honest tea.
Your dream version of another milk tea shop.
Not milk tea, not exactly. A place where people do not have to be perfect customers, where spilled drinks and loud kids are normal, where failure stories get free refills.
He studies the lot, then her. Something like respect cutting through his usual calculation.
Design it. Right now. With words.
Open frontage, big windows that show people laughing, not posing. A counter that curves like an arm reaching out. Walls for local art, lights soft enough to hide bad skin days, but bright enough to read.
She gestures, painting the air, and for once she does not apologize for wanting too much. Mason pulls out his sketchbook, lines flying as he translates her words into shapes. The card warms against both their hands, text sliding into place like a finished blueprint. True joint vision detected. Wish nearing completion. Prepare for terms update. They stand there under the faded awning, watching a future no longer scripted by debt or revenge, but by something that looks suspiciously like hope. 2 months later, the cafe that began under a broken awning exists in real walls and fresh paint. The sign over the door reads Second Draft Cafe. Ruby compromised between admitting mistakes and refusing to be defined by them. Inside, mismatched chairs crowd tables made from reclaimed wood. Plants spill from corners, and the menu offers both bitter coffee and ridiculous sugar drinks. Locals shuffle in with laptops and toddlers. Construction workers and nurses trade stories over mugs. The place hums with the exact imperfect energy she once described under the rain. Behind the counter, Ruby moves like she belongs there. Apron dusted with cocoa, hair pulled up in a messy knot that keeps falling. The exchange card sits under the register. Faded now, edges worn from being handled, quiet for weeks. On the other side of town, Mason stands in a tux in front of a crowded hall. Another award ceremony, another stage. Tonight his name is called for an international prize. A recognition that his latest project broke his own mold. The project is a cross between community center and cafe, all curved lines and open corners, warm light and flexible space. The judges call it a love letter to imperfection. On stage he takes the heavy glass trophy, microphone catching the slight tremor in his breath.
I grew up thinking design was about control, about forcing the world into clean lines so the messy parts would stop hurting. This project taught me that real beauty lives in spaces that bend, that allow for mistakes and noise and second chances. The credit for that belongs to someone who once gave me the worst review of my life, and then helped me survive it.
He looks straight into the camera, past the bright lights, seeing a small cafe across town in his mind.
Ruby Hart, this belongs to you as much as it does to me.
Gasps and approving murmurs ripple through the audience. Social feeds exploding as clips start to upload. Back at Second Draft Cafe, Ruby watches on an old tablet propped between syrup bottles. Customers gathering to see what the fuss is about.
Of course he used an award speech as a passive-aggressive apology. That man would rather swallow glass than say sorry like a normal person.
Her smile gives away the warmth flooding her chest. The exchange card under the register flares for the first time in weeks, sliding out like a self-possessed receipt. New words bloom in silver script. Contract complete. Emotional and practical debts balanced. Wishes integrated into life paths. Exchange no longer required. Below the declaration, another line appears in smaller letters. When desire no longer needs leverage, what remains is choice.
So we are free to walk away or walk toward. No fine print this time.
The bell over the door jingles, and Mason steps in carrying the award trophy and a takeout bag that smells like overpriced pastries. He looks out of place in a tux among paint-chipped chairs and crooked art. Yet somehow he suits the room.
Your online stream is lagging. I figured you might want the live version.
You are tracking my cafe Wi-Fi now. That is a new level of controlling behavior even for you.
Relax. The letter dropped a notification, said the contract was closing. I assumed you would be here pretending you were not refreshing my name on social media.
I only refreshed twice, maybe 3 times.
He sets the trophy on the counter, the glass catching warm light and throwing it across the ceiling.
This is for you, not because you saved a client, not because you cleared a debt, but because you made me redesign the way I measure worth.
Careful, if you keep saying things like that, I will start believing you like me.
That would be disastrous for my reputation.
Tragic.
They stand there grinning like two people who have survived something they still do not have language for. The card pulses between them one last time, then fades to blank, the ink dissolving into clean cream.
So that is it. No more mystical chores, no more surprise wardrobe deliveries, no more forced proximity excuses.
What a shame. I was just getting used to blaming magic for wanting to see you every day.
Her breath stutters, hope and fear colliding in her rib cage.
You could just come by for coffee like a normal person.
You do not serve normal coffee? You serve something with fireworks and ridiculous names. But yes, I could.
He steps closer, fingertips brushing the edge of the counter, close enough that she can see the tired lines around his eyes softened by something gentler than victory.
I have a proposal, and it does not involve contracts or letters or percentages.
I am listening.
I invest in this place as a silent partner. You keep running it your way. We design a few more impossible projects together when and how we want, and we see where this goes without bargaining.
You mean we choose each other without needing a crisis to shove us into the same room?
That is the general idea.
Her heart answers before her brain can draft terms.
Deal, but I want to add one clause.
Of course, you do.
If you ever try to use a magical letter to manage our relationship again, I reserve the right to pour 3 shots of espresso into your coffee and make you listen to my worst business ideas for an hour.
Cruel and unusual. I accept.
He reaches across the counter, hand open. She takes it skin to skin, no paper between them, no ink setting the rules. Outside the sign for Second Draft Cafe catches the afternoon light. Letters glowing softly. Inside, 2 people who once weaponized wishes now learn how to want in the open without exchange, without guarantees. Just the terrifying, beautiful risk of choosing each other every day.
Thanks for watching. Follow for more romance stories.